What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Thanks for listening on Spotify, Omni Studio, iTunes, or wherever you're listening to, legally or illegally. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's just like and subscribe, especially if you like our football content. Today we're going to talk about Southampton and Lee. His team finally has been relegated and deported. It's official. And now they can just start playing football with freedom and lack of pressure. So hopefully they can give some good performances in the next 8 to 7 weeks of football that they got left in the Prem. You're still in the Prem. Those players should know they're still in the Prem. So do some shit, some Prem shit, We'll talk about the Manchester Derby, and the 4 points that Manchester United has gotten off Man City this year. You know what I mean? They just got 1 point off us. They're the champs, and they just got 1 point off us. So, and did we beat them in the Charity Shield at the beginning of the season? I think we did, but I'm not sure. If Alex doesn't remember, then we probably did win.
I don't think you did.
Don't think what?
I think you lost.
Yeah, we might have lost. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't count those, but I feel like I know some teams do.
I count any win against City, any win. Yeah, it's not even the Charity Shield itself. Though it's beating City and beating Pep. We'll talk about Champions League games coming up. Arsenal has a tough game against Real Madrid. Villa has a tough game versus PSG. We'll talk about Liverpool dropping like all the points versus Fulham, but they tricked Arsenal into feeling that the title race was over. So Arsenal played before them and dropped points to Everton. So Arsenal got suckered. It could have been a 9-point lead. It's something in a single digit, something visibly, surmountable. But now they blew it in reverse because they're focused on the Real Madrid game, and we'll talk about their chances in that. We got Lee Hudson, stand-up comic, Southampton fan. How you feeling, Lee? Just, same way we applauded you in the league, we're going to have to applaud you out this bitch, man. Sorry, man. And it's tough to go out against Spurs, too.
Yeah, they got 2 of our managers fired this season. Man. That's what losing to Spurs does to you. Like, it's unacceptable. You lose to Spurs, you lose your job. That's how it should be, always. I think that should go for every manager in the Premier League. You lose to Spurs, you lose your job.
Yeah, and especially a 14th or 15th place Spurs. Like, a team that's, like hovering above you in the relegation zone. Like they should be beatable. You put up a fight, but we'll get into that. And we'll got Alex, Avila, stand-up comic and Man City fan. We'll talk about the Manchester Man City derby. So let's get that first. Like I said, we got 4 points versus City, the current champs, who won't be champs for long this year. And a lot of people are saying the game was boring. But I didn't get that because, I don't know, man. I'm looking at the way Man United has struggled in certain element or phases of the game, and I didn't see those struggles in this game. Like, we definitely lack quality in the final third. And when you think about it, all our offensive players are gone. Rashford is gone. Anthony's gone. Sancho's gone. Like, even 2 seasons ago, we had so many offensive players. We had a McTominay you could get goals out of, like 10 a season. We don't have none of that. We had a Cavani at some point. We had Elanga. Like, we've given up. I've never seen a team just give away all its scoring, or a lot of it is injured. And we just have these new players that are green with no leader to show them how to score. Rashford, if he was acting right, he'd be there and he'd be like showing players what to do, but he wasn't. So he's on loan. And Anthony is on loan too, killing it in Spain. So we're in a precarious position. But from the back to the midfield, we're starting to look all right. I like how we were able to build from the back and how Casemiro is coming back and establish himself as somebody who belongs in his team at least for one more year. I like how Euro was like breaking the lines. I like how Dogru knows exactly what to do in this 3-4-3, and he's kind of showing Delau on the right. Like, if you're gonna play fullback in this is how you do it. And the lot is finally like doing some good things. And where we break down is we're green up front, we're inexperienced, and Garnaccio he's young. He's played probably a lot of games for his age, and he should not be a starter. He should be coming off the bench and learning from a veteran. And the fact that he should be doing that shows in games like this where he had chances and he makes bad decisions. And he has to learn football and develop a higher IQ than what he's exhibiting. But our midfield, I think, was solid. We battled Man City really well in the midfield, and I just liked a lot of what I saw. So I don't think it was boring. Like, and I feel like we had the better chances. What did you think about the game, Alex?
It was super boring. I was bored.
And what do you think was the cause? I know it's a derby, and there's supposed to be tackles like we saw that should have been a red card, Everton versus Liverpool. But because we've been so bad, the little things excite me.
I just think it was so bad, like a really bad setup from Pep. And it's coming to a point that I'll tell you how like City community feels. Like obviously Pep is the greatest coach City ever had, and maybe perhaps the greatest coach ever. But it's kind of frustrating this season when there's moments when we're expecting like a different lineup against big games, and he in the lineup that he plays, or just like why? Like we knew what United was playing with like a 5-3-2, right? I think like that's formation like a 5-2-3. Like I mean, definitely playing the
it's a
back.
3-4-3.
Well, Guardiola goes and plays no wingers. You know, he's like our wingers are Foden and Bernardo, who they're not really like the fast pacey wingers. They're more like inside players. And a lot of the times when we had the ball, I was like, there's so many. I don't know. I just feel like it feel compacted. It feel like City was needed. They're touching the ball 10, 15 times with no purpose. I mean, I know the purpose of. I know that's a tactic for Pep, just touch the ball around, but there was just no. There wasn't like like a reason to touch the ball. It was just must touch the ball just to touch the ball. Like there wasn't kind of like an actually like a purpose of doing this. Normally, when all these touches, it's like okay, let's open up Doku on a 1-on-1. Let's open up Savinho. Let's have something different. It just felt like City was we're just wanting to touch the ball around. And in the second half, I think we look slightly better when Doku came in, but I just feel like since the beginning, a midfield with Gundogan, Kovacic, and Bernardo, who are kind of like they're not the same guys as before, wasn't as exciting as having like Nico Gonzalez, who's like Rose's replacement, and who he's seen like actually like a guy who's gonna out. Because I think Casemiro was man of the match, Casemiro,
He got like
and
11 tackles in.
and Casemiro, I believe most United fans would probably say they would not want Casemiro to continue in Man United next season or moving forward. And all of a sudden, this guy's the man of the match. I mean, it's insane that we allowed kind of like Guardiola got outmastered by your coach again, and it's been 3 times already because this coach already beat him twice. He beat him with Sporting, he beat him with at City, even though that game was like, I mean, ended up and United ended up winning, and maybe that played into Guardiola's mind. I kind of lose to this guy 3 times, and he went with like a more controlled City instead of like the pacey City that because this week we play Leicester with a different lineup, and we had flashes of our best, like kind of like our best. We were creating a bunch of chances. We missed so many, but it was back to kind of like, okay, this is what we want to see against United, and he changed the lineup. So that's what it was kind of boring, in my opinion. I just feel like we were just had the ball just to have the ball, like no, with no intention.
Lee, did you see the game? What do you think about it? The derby, that was Derby-less.
Yeah, I saw the game. Like, I feel like I didn't find it that boring. Like, there was a lot going on. Like, I enjoyed watching it. It was like, the keepers had to make some saves. And I thought there was going to be something happening straight away from the kickoff when Garnaccio went bursting through.
Yeah.
But City got back and defended that well, and he couldn't quite find the right choice. And there was some good sort of technical moments in it as well, like that the volley from Marmoush, which like if that was further either side of Onana, that was potentially going to take the net off. But it was comfortable enough save in the end, and he came close to the free kick as well. And he had that good chance, and the ball got cut back to Xerxes, and he forced Edison into a good save. So yeah, there was stuff going on, and I feel like it was I felt entertained enough by watching it. It was it was end to end at least, even if there wasn't goals. So I feel like it's a solid performance from United as well. Like you say, there was stuff to be happy about as a United fan there, because although Pep likes to change these players around and stuff, like it's still a world-class squad. It's a world-class set of players that he's putting out on the pitch, and it was a fairly even game. So I think that's a real plus for you guys.
Yeah, I get why, and I don't get why people were saying this was boring. Like, also some of the commentators out here that we get the game, the people that announce the game, like, why is United playing out the back? And then we start playing out the back and flowing through their lines. And then I don't hear the complaint no more. You have to learn how to play out the back. This is what the team is going to be about next season. You can't wait till next season to start doing that shit now. So it was good to see Lenny Euro doing it and breaking the lines, like I said, and Dogru doing what a wing back is supposed to do. And we're going to get some other players back. There was Mount got in the game. Xerxes didn't start, but he got in the game. And to see the fight in the midfield, and just we weren't open like we've been in games versus City and other people, or teams that are, below City in the team kind of open us up sometimes. It was good to play compact, and then also to be decent with the ball when we had it, Yeah. So I take this 0-0. It's a great, and here's the thing about this. City are the champions until maybe a few more games, right? And would you say City is better than any team in the Europa League right now?
Yeah.
So to draw a 0-0 against City is a great launching pad and momentum thing for us to continue against the teams in the Europa League that are not as good as City. If we can do this against City, we could get to the final. And if we get to the final, then we could win the final. If we win the final, then we could be in Champions League. So I'm feeling this 0-0 way more than the pundits are. And I know what Roy Keane was saying, but I don't see how they don't see we're working towards that.
What was he saying?
He's measuring everything by how he played and how United was when he was there. So he's saying this was very lackluster. The players were too happy on both sides with a draw and things like that. But it's where both teams are at the moment, and it's not like we're not playing a City that didn't want to win, because City's trying to get into top 4 or get a Champions League spot too.
Yeah, we won. We were in top 4 now. We're in 6th place or 7th place. I think we dropped to 2 places.
Right, and then I also understand there probably wasn't as much pressure coming from that aged midfield that you presented against us, but we can only play what was in front of us, and we dealt with it. And I feel like that midfield would do great in the Europa League. So it's like I said, it's a great motivational momentum jumping off spot to play midweek on Thursday against a tough. I think who are we up against? I got to look it up. Lyon or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we ready. We're building. It's positive to me. And I agree with Lee agreeing with me. Yeah.
I got a question for Alex as well.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think about? Now, what do you think about Pep's interview where he threw Mateus Nunes under the bus?
Good question. I think it's like a.
Can I answer that?
I don't know if you know. Ian, do you know what he was told or
No,
the comment?
I didn't hear or see the comment, but I can only picture in my head the amount of times while playing that Mateus Nunes has thrown Pep and Man City under the bus with lack of effort. Like, as I've never seen a player on a Pep team stand out so lackadaisically so many times and still get in the game. So that's all I want to say. You go answer.
The comment that he mentioned, Pep was told that no, Mateo Nunez it could be a very good quality fullback, but he's not clever enough to be in the midfielder. That's like with more words, but that was kind of like the whole thing. He's very good. He can be a very good defender, fullback, but not a good center mid because he's not clever enough. I think that was just like a lack of the language, but like I don't know what he tried to say, but yeah, he did kind of like that's. I feel like that's not a very it's not the first time that Guardiola has done this. Like Guardiola has done this for like a lot of he's done it for Nasri, for Yaya Toure, for Calvin Phillips. So I think the message is clear that Mateo Nunez will not be a City player next season. Yeah,
that's not true. I've heard him say that a similar thing about who's your player that went to AC Milan from Kyle Walker. Yeah, like because somebody asked him before, do you think you can have Kyle Walker in the Stones position too? And this is at your heyday. And he said, no, I don't think he's smart enough to play where Stones play. So I'll keep him out wide. And then after that, to be honest, I saw Kyle Walker making from wide Stones-like passes to prove Pep wrong. I don't think saying the truth is always a criticism or throwing somebody under the bus. Like he's probably told this kid this into his face because that's how he improves people, by telling them what they need to fix. And it's like, fine. Like who here thinks Mateus Nunes is a complete player based on what they've seen? So why does Pep have to cover for him?
Well, I think like if you're paying, I don't know how much we pay but I think it was, I can bet I think it was probably more than 50, 60 million, not sure, as a midfielder. And all of a sudden it's like, he doesn't want just a midfielder, he wants just a fullback. So it's just, again, those things that you can question Pep about, but you cannot really question him because he's the greatest. But you're like, makes you scratch your head as to, we don't have any right backs, and why did you spend money on this guy?
You had right backs before. It's just that you don't have any now. So your situation has kind of been deteriorated, and it caught up with you. What do you think about your new sporting director that used to be the sporting director for our coach?
I don't have a lot of knowledge on him. I just, based on his previous history, he recruited some good players for Sporting, but I don't know if that's on him or if that's on your coach or if that's on somebody else. But he's gotten good talent for that team. So I don't know if that's all on him or not. But I do feel like the CFG, the city board, the structure, it's well in place. Like they have built it pretty good. There's more, it's more established. So hopefully he's able to come in and he gets the support he needs, and he's gonna get the support he needs. I feel like that should be fine.
Yeah, I trust City with their off the field and on the field decision making things. Off the field, as far as like recruiting, and people to help them with their recruiting people who help them with their recruiting of players. I trust City.
I think a lot of the success it came from City is that we most of the time we've been proactive. Like we do things kind of like this guy, we knew he was happening like 12 months in advance. with Guardiola. We knew Guardiola was coming like a year in advance and stuff. So I feel like that's kind of good, because you see other teams kind of like rushing into those decisions, and I think like it's not really the best for those in those positions.
Was he coming to you from Sporting before we got Sporting's coach?
Mm-hmm. Like we signed him before you guys did. So it was that's what I thought. That's what I thought you guys kind of like poach the coach, because it wasn't before Guardiola announced. Guardiola had not signed an extension, so I thought this guy comes as a sporting director and he brings the same coach with him. It's like a full package, a sporting director and coach. But then you guys got the coach, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now, who's this guy gonna get? But Guardiola ended up staying.
All right, so that's enough about City.
Well, really, I know we had enough City, but I just gotta ask you guys like a quick question, just because De Bruyne announced his retirement.
Oh yeah.
And just a quick one, like it's just like a yes or no. De Bruyne, top 5 best player in the Premier League history? No, not a top 5. Okay, no for me and Lee.
Top 5 ever? I'm not sure.
I like that more than.
What about you?
Yeah.
When did you start watching the Premier League? When De Bruyne got there?
No, like 2006. I think I mean I'll probably have to say for sure Henry is there, Ryan Giggs, De Bruyne's there, and I feel like I have to think more about some Chelsea player that I'm not maybe like, I don't know, but I do feel like I do think De Bruyne is better than Lampard at other primes and stuff. No, do you disagree with on that one?
I think De Bruyne is a better player. He's got better technique. Like technically, he's one of the best ever, in my opinion, in terms of his vision, range of passing and stuff. But in terms of like effectiveness and driving a team forward, like Lampard scored 20 goals plus every season he played pretty much for Chelsea from midfield. So, I mean, yeah, like that's big for a player in that position. It's a tough one.
That's an interesting one.
It's all subjective anyway. Like you can do it on trophies, but I mean, then you can include some bad players who just happen to be part of Man United squads in the 90s or whatever. Well, not bad players, but just players who shouldn't be in that conversation could be in there. So it's hard to do objectively. Subjectively, just like I say, I think he's one of the technically best players to ever play in the Premier League. But in terms of everything, there's others I'd put above him for sure.
Yeah, and I want you to throw this definitely throw this on the Instagram thing that you had, because I like to know who people think is the top 5 Premier League.
This is where you're gonna run into trouble. He would be top 5 if it wasn't for a team called Man United who hogged most of the spots. Ryan Giggs gets 13 titles. Paul Scholes, Gary Neville have 11, right? And we're talking players top 5. Like Gary Neville was a really good right back. Like it doesn't feel like it now, but he was. Paul Scholes, I don't have to defend. Roy Keane, 7 titles. Roy Keane. Dennis Irving, 7 titles. Then we just go to 6 titles, which is the same amount as Kevin De Bruyne, which is super impressive. Like 6 titles in 10 years. Kevin De Bruyne, amazing. Now, there's David Beckham in there. I would give him it over I would give it to him over Nicky Butt. I would give it to him over Solskjaer, even though it's very important. And there's Cristiano Ronaldo, with just
I just remember Ronaldo was
3 titles. Yeah. And then there might be some City players I would give this over. Like, do you think Aguero is more top than
That I think like that's a tough one because I think like Aguero means probably more for all City fans. Like it means more, but we're like actually when we're seeing like constant performance, like De Bruyne was like LeBron finished top three best player in Europe like for 5 years in a row. Like there was like when he was on the Ballon d'Or nominations for I think it was 3 or 4 years in a row, and Premier League player of the year twice. So consistency, I think De Bruyne is unquestionable. Like Aguero, a lot of the times he was gone for half of the season. I love Aguero. Like what my favorite City player, but I do if I'm kind of like saying who I feel is more consistent, better quality, overall better City career, I think I have to go with De Bruyne.
I'm asking ChatGPT a question. So Aguero, 5 titles, 184 goals. But I gotta give him winning that first one. And he literally won that first one. That was a moment of truth. And he was like, yo, this is what we're gonna do. Get the ball to me. And he stood on his. And that changed the trajectory of Man City forever, even before Pep got there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, he didn't win a Champions League, but I could say Kevin De Bruyne wasn't on the pitch when you guys won the treble or won the Champions League final. He got subbed out because he got injured. So he wasn't at his best. All right. So there's David Silva only got 4 titles, but man, do I love me some David Silva. Like 100%. David Blaine on the pitch. Do you like De Bruyne or David Silva? Both of you. Who you got?
David Silva was kind of like, I mean, I don't know. That's a crazy one. I don't know who I'll decide. I think if we were just looking at
if you can't decide,
no, because you're asking me as a City
how does he get into?
Like David Silva was kind of like the game changer for City. He comes to City, and all of a sudden, like City is like we have like a different, like it's a different type of player. Like never, it was Aitana's Re was gonna be what Silva was, and Silva
he's Zola with titles.
Yeah, like I mean, like we have a statue of Silva in our stadium, Mm-hmm. But again, going back to like unquestionably, like David Silva was pretty underrated, like across the globe. If I will go to someone and tell him like, hey, David Silva, maybe City wasn't like the major global team that is now when Silva was there, so I feel like he got underrated for a long time, even though he won the World Cup with Spain as a starter. He won the Europe's back to back with the World Cup. Like always started all the games, but most.
I don't think he started most of those games with Spain.
He did.
No, it was Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. There was no need, and it was David Villa.
They will play David Silva too.
Yeah, but I think he was subbed in more because they had the 2 forwards.
I want to chat. I might pull up the lineup. I think like I already went through this quick. Yes.
Yeah, please do. But
Spain.
And then you could jump in. Who you think, David Silva or De Bruyne, Lee, while he does research?
I think so. I took more joy from watching David Silva play, but I think De Bruyne's a better player all round in terms of affecting games. Because I think De Bruyne, you have the added stuff of like the set pieces, and I think he would contribute more as a player. But I enjoyed watching David Silva more.
What about Vincent Kompany, De Bruyne? Vincent got 4 titles.
Yeah, you're right. He did not play in the final. It was the Euro Cup.
Yeah. And like that's how good Spain was. And that team was made up of mostly the starters were all Barcelona players and all Real Madrid players. And it wasn't even that many Real Madrid players. What about Yaya Toure?
No, De Bruyne.
Fernandinho, 5 titles. Like they're Fernandinho prime. one of the
I know,
best.
yeah, Fernandinho prime was insane. Like, but I still feel like at the end of the day, between Rodri and Fernandinho, I think Rodri prime is just slightly better.
De Bruyne, Ederson.
Oh, Eddie.
These are just different positions.
So
These
there
are
you
different
go.
positions now.
But we're
I'm
talking.
with you.
He said,
with you.
I'm answering his question. He said, is Kevin De Bruyne one of the best top 5 Premier League players all time? Now, if I can introduce some players from his own team that knock him out of that, then it doesn't look like I'm looking at this with red tinted glasses. Now, I just said Kevin De Bruyne, Ederson, and he said Ederson. No second thinking about it.
He was joking. I'm pretty sure he was joking on that one.
Were you? Yeah. I don't think he's joking.
I'm joking. Obviously,
okay.
Ederson is not even a. I don't even put him as like top 10 best City goalies, but he's,
you know,
he's just. Well, it's
not
just
top
like
10. Come on, that's your Champions League winning goalkeeper.
No, I know, but hear me out. I don't think he's a goalkeeper. I think he's just a midfielder playing goalie for us. Like the guys,
which is amazing.
Exactly, but he's just kind of like I don't really. I think Joe Hart was a better goalie, but Ederson.
You out of your mind, bro. I don't know what high you got on before you came on this podcast, but you still on it, fam.
Yeah, it might be time to go see my accountant.
Raheem Sterling, De Bruyne.
Raheem Sterling, like, come on. Now you're being funny.
Ilkay Gundogan, De Bruyne.
If you were to ask Bernardo Silva, it answers De Bruyne, but Bernardo Silva is just a player that I feel plays the closest to my style, so that's why I love Bernardo. I'm a short guy, just like Bernardo. I run the most in the field, but I'm not a De Bruyne. I don't have what De Bruyne does. It's just insane what he sees, the way he plays. So I don't think nobody can replicate that like a lot. For 10
all
years.
right, I got one. Kevin De Bruyne, Otamendi.
Oh, come on.
All right. But yeah, those are, and Vincent Kompany. Did I mention Vincent Kompany?
I feel like I like Ruben Diaz more than Vincent Kompany.
All right. And what about Kevin De Bruyne versus what's your injured player for the midfield that won the Ballon d'Or?
What's maybe an interesting one? When you ask me like in 5 years about Haaland, it's like Haaland or De Bruyne. After Haaland has scored 200 goals in the Premier League, and what do you say after that?
What about your guy that's injured right now that won the Ballon d'Or?
No, I already told you, De Bruyne.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't think I mentioned his name, but maybe.
But you mentioned Fernandinho, and I said Rodri's better than Fernandinho.
Yeah, okay, you're right. All right, cool.
And this just became a City podcast. I'm sorry about that, Lee. And yeah,
it's fine. We're talking football. It's relevant. But I love Kevin De Bruyne. I hated him when he played us. I appreciate him. They showed some highlights on a Premier League show out here, and some of the goals that they showed from his highlight package were like I didn't even remember about these goals, and they were golazos, straight up golazos. Like ain't nobody saving those. Like where he shoots from sometimes, his shooting ability, it just made me realize, like, damn, this guy had the full package. And I think he's so understated as a human being. He might be rated higher if he was like, he played with his chest out during interviews and stuff like that. So I appreciate his humility. We can talk about Southampton while you're here. Lee, how you feeling, man? You knew it was coming. It's like if you're dating someone and you're about to break up or something like that, then you do break up. And is there a difference between knowing you're going to break up and actually breaking up? Like you guys are breaking up with the Premier League, and you're going to be single for a minute in the Championship. And you're moving out. You're moving back to your parents' house. How do you feel about moving back to your parents' house?
I mean, I didn't really feel anything at the final whistle because, like you say, I knew it was happening. I knew it was coming. Mm. I've been waiting for this for a while now. I'm just annoyed it happened at Spurs. that was what upset me. Like I say, we've had 2 managers fired this season for losing to Spurs, which I get. You know, if I was a chairman, I would fire a manager for losing to Spurs too. That should happen. But yeah, I'm already thinking about next season, and I'm already thinking about all the players that we need to. Like, there's some players that we should sell that we should get rid of, and there's some that we'll sell because we have to. But I'm hoping our new sporting director knows what we need, because there's too many players in that team right now who just deadwood. They'll be deadwood in the Championship too. They were bad. They weren't great for us in the Championship when we were there last time, and we stuck with them in the Premier League, despite the fact that we only just scraped up through the playoffs.
Damn.
And they need to go.
Did you find out they were bad when you knew they were bad, or they should have went in the Championship? Yeah. So why didn't you guys get rid of them?
Because
sell them
stupid.
to the Championship. So you guys kind of earned going down then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, like we just weren't good enough. Like, it's like,
name some names.
Let me show you the table from that league for a second. So Leicester came top of the Championship that season we got promoted. They conceded 41. I mean, Ipswich conceded a few. They conceded 57. Leeds only conceded 43. We conceded 63. So Leicester, who won the league, conceded 41 with the defence that they're currently using in the Premier League, and we conceded 63. So we conceded 22 more goals than Leicester did in the Championship, and we thought that defence was fine to go into the Premier League with. We didn't really add any defenders.
Damn.
And like, even West Brom finished below us, and they only conceded 47.
How many goals did you concede this year already in the Prem? Let's see if that number.
Too many. Let me have a look at the table for.
So you got a bunch of players that conceded goals in the Championship, and you brought them to the Premier League and say, "Hey guys, play out the back."
Southampton has 74 goals.
Yeah, we've conceded 74 in 31 games.
Yeah, that tracks.
And Leicester conceded 70. They're the next highest. And that's just bad. Like, I mean, if you think like Spurs have been bad at the back of the season, they've only conceded 45. We've conceded 35 more goals than Tottenham.
Damn.
No, sorry, 35, 25. Still bad.
Still damn.
It's still bad. Yeah, it's just those players like Bednarek. He tries hard. I'll give him that, but he's not good enough. Taylor Harwood-Bellis is a very good. He's got promoted from the Championship twice. Don't think he's ready for the Premier League, and I'm not sure if he'll ever be athletic enough for the Premier League. Like, he's quite good on the ball, but he's slow. That was the thing. That any time teams have got at us with intensity this season, our defenders are all too slow and just not aware of what's going on around them. We always have players around the box. Like, we could have 6 defenders back. The opposition could have 3 forwards, and their 3 forwards will find space to get on the ball and score. Like, there's just players just brain dead defenders who aren't strong enough, aren't quick enough. And yeah, they're just not good enough. Jack Stevens not good enough. James Bree not good enough. They're just players we've used who just they're Championship players at best. And the midfield's been poor a lot of the season as well. There's only like a handful of players that I think in this team deserve to be Premier League players. So Aaron Ramsdale deserves to be a Premier League player. He'll find a club easy. He's been linked with Chelsea. He's been linked with Newcastle. He'll find a team in the Premier League. Mateus Fernandes, for me, player of the season for us. 20 years old, signed him from Sporting Lisbon. Like, fantastic player, honestly, fantastic player. He could play, in my opinion, he could play for any team in the league. How
much is he worth, you think? I'm just asking for a friend.
I think we'd probably sell him for like 40. I think he's potentially worth more, but let me see how much we signed him for.
While you pull that up, Lee, Tyler Dibling, their evaluation is crazy. They're asking 100 million. Is he $100 million? Is he a $100 million player?
He's worth whatever anyone will be willing to pay for him. And United were willing to pay 89 million for Anthony. So when we add the, people are talking about tariff. People are talking about tariffs this week. There is an English young player tariff that needs to be applied to any young English player. So yeah, we're going to mark up. I mean, look, I think it's a negotiating position.
I got scared this week when I saw City's link because after De Bruyne left, we're looking at this guy, and I was like, whoa. It's like it feels to me like another Jack Grealish 2.0.
Yeah, like you have better people.
Yeah, there's no point signing a player who likes to dribble in a Pep team. So hilarious. Pep would kill that kid. Turn him into a sideways backwards guy.
I feel like Oscar Bob is better than Tyler Dibling. And there's people in your academy, like even O'Reilly, like how outstanding he's been. It's like Pep should probably trust his academy players more that really know his system and has ability.
Yeah. I mean, the 100 million for Dibling, I don't expect anyone to pay that. I think he'll go for somewhere between 60 to 80.
That's too much,
in my opinion. I think that's what he'll go for. We'll see though. But I mean, I think it's a negotiating position. We're trying to make sure people aren't, taking the piss with small bids. But yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing there, Mateus Fernandez, we signed for 15 million from Sporting. He only played 5 times for the first team, and spent the season. Before we signed him, he was on loan at another club called Estoril, who also are in the top division. So yeah, he's a real talent. And 15 million, yeah, I reckon we'll get around 40 for him if we're smart, because I think can go right to the top. He's such a good player. Like he's technically very good, but he's got like that. He's got the dog in him as well. Like he works hard, he tackles, he's aggressive. He's got that like mentality as well as the actual technical ability as well. So I think, yeah. So Ramsdale deserves to be a Premier League footballer still. Fernandez does. Dibling kind of does. Like I think he's a sort of player who should stay with the club and help us get back. Become like a star player in the Championship and then come back into the Premier League, because he's kind of like, he showed at the start of the season, he was showing like these little flashes of brilliance, like when we played you guys at St Mary's, when he was like running at people and he bought a penalty out of
the first half. For the first half,
for the first half. But then he faded, and then we played Liverpool at home and he did the same there. Like he turned Andy Robertson inside out. And then I couldn't really tell you anything he's done this side of Christmas. So as a young player,
if somebody comes and offers what, like, I don't know, let's just say 40 to 60, like there's kind of like, you probably will sell him, right? Like just it's not really worth keeping a player like that in Championship.
Yeah, it depends who the manager is and how much he wants to play for that manager next season. Because I think for him, if he signs anywhere, like if he goes to, like there's loads of teams being linked. If he goes to United, if he goes to Villa, if he goes to Newcastle, he's not going to play every week. Like he'll be a bench player. He'll start some games. If he stays with us, he'll start 46 games in the Championship next season. It'll make him a better player. But he'll still become a better player if he goes to these other clubs, because he'll be training with high quality players, working with high quality managers. But I kind of feel like for a player of that age, the best way to learn is playing.
Do you feel like he wants to stay and go down and bring you back up? Or do you feel like he's like, I'm out of here?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he wants to do, and I'm not sure what his agent wants to do. And I think they might be two different things, because he got a new agent partway through the season. And I don't know, like as soon as he got his new agent, his form went terrible. So I don't know if he's like, play badly and we can get you out of here for a cheap price. So yeah, I don't know, because he spoke a lot of how much he loved playing for Russell Martin and how much Russell Martin was a big influence on him and him as a person, even not just as a player. So as soon as we've fired him and then brought in an angry Croatian Italian, he didn't quite feel the same love. I don't know if that's contributed to the performances as well. So yeah, it's hard. It'll be interesting to see what happens now. We fired Juric, because the interim manager, Simon Rusk, has worked with our young players. He's like our former under-21 coach. And Adam Lallana is now our assistant manager. And still sort of a player as well. But Adam Lallana has been like Tyler Dibling's mentor for this season. Russell Martin like assigned him as being like, okay, like you look after him. He's, he's a young, skillful attacking midfielder, tell him everything he needs to know kind of thing. So I don't know if having Lallana as assistant might mean that, he gets into him a bit more and gets something out of him for these final games. Because that's what players are playing for their careers now in these final games for us. That's what it is. We're trying to obviously avoid that points total, but I don't think the players care. Otherwise, they would have done it by now. I'm hopeful now that the actual relegation sets a reality in for those players to be like, well, you're playing for either your career at Southampton if you want to be part of it next season, or you're playing for your career to get a move somewhere and just to prove to people that you aren't, you're better than a relegated team.
We won't believe them. We'll be like, nah, you're just doing this for a move now. You ain't going to sucker us into paying for you. You had 30 games to not be who you are right now. We don't trust you.
Well, yeah. Tyler, if you're listening, because Tyler listens to this podcast, stay in Southampton. Do not go to City. Don't ruin your career. Stay in Southampton and get Southampton back in the league.
Let me ask you a question about your coach. Do you think, did he get fired? That's the first question.
Yeah.
And you think they should have fired him? Like, why fire someone and you lost the league? Like, why now? Like, does it make sense? Like, why not just let him finish? You're going to pay him off for some shit he's not going to finish?
No, I think there was a clause in the contract, apparently, this is what I've heard, that there was a clause that if we became officially relegated, we could let him go for like a set amount that he would have got at the end of the season anyway. So I feel like the mood probably didn't look great. The players didn't really seem. Well, it's weird because like occasionally we did look like they were playing for him, like the Liverpool away game that I went to, where we crumbled a little bit second half, but the players were putting effort in. And we played Palace at home midweek. We were 1-0 up for most of that game. Then we conceded late on for a 1-1 draw, which against Palace is like a credible result. Palace are taking teams down left, right, and centre at the moment, and we got a 1-1 draw with them. They had to score in the 92nd minute, so there were little signs there, but just too inconsistent. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure the players enjoyed him. That's one of the stories that was in the media today as well, that they didn't really like his methods. So I think the board probably just went, yeah, let's just throw someone in to be the player's friend for the last few games and just try and make it a happier place to be before the reality kicks in.
Listen, man, I'm sorry to see your team deported to the El Salvadorian mega prison league. So sorry to see you go, fam.
Hey, we got that Premier League citizenship. We should be able to stay.
Nah, you were a registered alien, and we don't care about that status no more. We're not having no judge block. You're going to be on a flight that lands in I forgot what country first, and then on to El Salvador. Let's
Lee,
talk.
Yeah, man. Sorry, Lee, but at least it makes you feel better. I'm back to supporting Southampton now that you guys are back. You guys get another supporter. I couldn't support you when you were in the Premier League, but now Championship, you got me back.
Yeah, you were worried about Southampton this whole time. You had no faith in City.
I'm a loyal fan. You don't see me wearing Madrid shirts or anything else.
Yeah, but Madrid is your team in La Liga. So what are you talking about?
Oh, no, that's not my team.
Don't you fuck with Madrid?
I don't like either. I don't like either one.
All right, cool. That's all right.
I do have to get out. I gotta go sign my taxes. So I will see you guys in the next podcast. Lee,
all right.
Ian.
Peace, fam. Thanks for joining. Now we can talk real football. So I guess the other thing in the Prem that I wanted to bring up, there's been a lot of results, but I feel like every week Arsenal blows winning the league. You know, like it's like there was a point where they blew winning the league and we're like, they're not going to win it. But then Liverpool lets them know, like this week, hey, you still had a chance, but we only let you knew you had that chance after you drew with Everton. And then after that game, we lost to Fulham. Like if Arsenal had seen Liverpool lose to Fulham first, would they have tried harder and played a stronger starting lineup versus Everton, even though they still knew they had that Champions League game coming up? And would they have taken the chance to get 9 points closer to Liverpool and risk some of their fitness of their players for the Real Madrid game? Or were they just like, nah, we're done in the league? Because Liverpool, after watching Arsenal drop points to Everton, they played the first half of that game versus Fulham with their hands cupped behind their head and feet up. So do you think Arsenal blew their chance to win the league again?
Nah, I think it's gone. I think it's gone before this, and I think they were right to try and stay fresh ahead of the Real Madrid game, because when you get to this stage of the Champions League, like anything's possible. Like anyone who's still in it at this point can win it. The knockout rounds of the Champions League don't always see the best teams end up in the final. There's always a way through. So, and on their day, Arsenal can raise their game and potentially beat Real Madrid. I would make Real Madrid favourites for that game, just because of the firepower they've got. I feel like there's more goals in their team than there is in the Arsenal team. So, I can see why Arsenal wanted to keep their powder dry. And that team they put out was still good enough to get something at Everton. I think the penalty was a little bit harsh on Miles Lewis-Skelly.
I do think that too.
And I mean, they had enough about them to get something. Like Sterling actually played okay in this game as well, which he was overdue. He got the assist. He could have scored one as well. And
they're like, take him off. Bring in our starters so that we could drop points in the game.
So yeah, it's maybe some points drop where they could have closed that gap a little bit, but I still think Liverpool are winning the league regardless. So
they definitely are now.
Let's see if it pays off for them this week.
So just going to the Champions League. So you're saying you believe that Arsenal can beat Real Madrid at home on tomorrow, Tuesday, today for you?
Yeah, I think Arsenal can do them at home.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough, but they can do it. I mean, Arsenal brushed aside PSG at home earlier in this tournament, so I think all things are possible, especially with that Real Madrid defense.
Yeah,
I feel like no one's keeping a clean sheet in this game.
All right.
Especially without Gabriel for Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
And Real Madrid's Frankenstein defense of players where they'll play like a back four where only one of them's a defender. So, I can see there being goals, and it's just about who can outscore the other.
Yeah, this is a tough call because Arsenal has lost Gabriel for the season, but they just got Saka back, and they rested players, and offensively they should be fine, but also they have some defensive questions too with if they have to play Kiviar there. But the team with the most defensive problems, and they're also on the road, is Real Madrid. Bless you. And I already mentioned last week how unbalanced of a team, and you just mentioned that Real Madrid is, especially defensively. All their defense is a kid who's 19 and a bunch of players who are not natural defenders. They're midfielders. Yeah. And I think Rudiger is ready. And I think Alaba is back too. So it depends. And Alaba's gotten a few games in, even though there was some mistakes in La Liga, not necessarily by him, but there was some ricochets that went in the back of the net in a Copa match that came directly, some kind of own goal shit. But that, somebody shoots and the ball comes off you into the back of your own net. That's not you like messing up per se. But it happened twice in that midweek game for Real Madrid. But let's see what that defense is going to be. And this is a tricky game, but I still give it to Real Madrid just out of respect. And I'm wearing the shirt. So, yeah. And what do you think, PSG versus Aston Villa? We'll just do the Prem teams.
I think PSG will win it over the two legs. I don't know if they'll win it at Villa Park.
Tomorrow they're at, or Wednesday they're at PSG.
Yeah. I think they'll do enough in that game. I can just see, that I just feel like the firepower in that PSG team, and I feel like PSG's midfield is better than Villa's.
Right. Villa rested some players this weekend, and then they rotated, and they showed their squad depth in their match this weekend versus, I forgot who it was, but they Forest, yeah, and Forest is pretty formidable. But the PSG that I saw beat Liverpool was on some shit. And if that's the PSG that shows up tomorrow versus Aston Villa, as well balanced as Aston Villa is, I still have to give the slight edge to PSG. But I wouldn't be surprised if Villa was able to pull something off. I just wouldn't be surprised. And before we go to Fantasy League, oh, shit. One of the big games next week in the Premier League is Newcastle versus Man United. What do you think about that matchup?
Newcastle United?
Yeah. This weekend coming up.
Well, that just sounds like me saying their name, which is Newcastle United. Newcastle United? So that's at Newcastle as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're winning that. Sorry.
I don't know. I don't know.
They've got future Ballon d'Or winner Jacob Murphy on a rampage right now.
I mean,
that guy's unstoppable.
Who is this guy? How did he turn into this guy? I knew who James Murphy was for years, but I don't know who this James Murphy is. I don't know what happened. I don't know what Eddie Howe did to him, but he definitely downloaded an upgraded version of his software, and he's balling out. Like,
yeah, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's definitely got the software patches going.
I just think that Newcastle are on one right now. So with Isak as well, I can see them. I can see them being strong against you guys.
I feel like we can get some points out of this game, a point at least. Yeah, because I feel like Forest is at a higher level in the table. We just played City, and I don't know. I think we owed him something, and so I feel like we're also building. We have our version of what we call momentum. It ain't like, top 6 momentum, but it's something. So I'll give us a chance against them. And most of the games, so that's what that fantasy league do now that Premier League is back.
Ooh, I mean, big news. I jumped over Martin, so he might be gloating. He might be gloating about beating Southampton, but I've dropped him in the fantasy league this week. Martin only got 24. Martin got a pitiful 24 points in total. Like, the only player that did anything for him was Luis Diaz got a goal. Other than that, he sucked. I only got 43 points, which isn't a great score, but it was enough to go ahead of Martin. Because I had some players who did something. So I had Bowen who scored. I had Mateta who scored. I had Gvardiol got a clean sheet. Pope got a clean sheet. So yeah, I did okay. I did okay. I was annoyed though. I had some players in there who didn't really do anything. Like I had Mamouche. So sorry, I was cheering for Mamouche to get a goal against you guys, but he didn't. I had Asensio in there who had an off week when he doesn't really have those. But I think was he off the bench for them or did he start? I don't know.
Who?
Asensio for Villa.
He started.
Oh yeah, he played 72 minutes. Yeah, just didn't do anything.
He actually played pretty good. His touch is pretty amazing. He's pure class.
Oh yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had Salah in there as well. Salah had an off week against Fulham, so I need some of these players to pick it up. But there's some big double game weeks going on next week, so that's going to be interesting.
So who's at the top of the league?
So top of the league right now.
I'm glad you passed Martin. That's the irony of him knocking you out of the Prem, but you rising above him.
There we go. Ahmad Zekri is number one right now.
Ahmad
2080. Brian Avila is number two still, 2016, and Joey Duda is third with 2004. They're the only three people to break 2,000 points as well so far.
Damn.
So they deserve to be the top three.
Yeah. This is all right. All right. Do you think there's anything else we should cover or talk about?
I think that's mostly it.
Yeah, it's a good, solid football conversation. I got to rent a car now. They rented me a hotel minibar on wheels.
What are you driving?
It's a Mitsubishi shopping cart. Like, I could drive it on the golf course for real. Like what they rented me. Yeah. It's when I signed for it, I also agreed to deliver Uber Eats for the next 3 weeks in it. Like that's the type of vehicle.
Yeah.
I've had Jordans that have come in a better box. And I ain't talking about high level Jordans. I'm just talking about the white ones. It's a AC unit on wheels. New York City AC unit on wheels that they rented me. $26 a day. I could see why plus tax.
Yeah,
man. It's really small and boxy.
Yeah, I don't like giving people big cars today for.
I mean, I appreciate that. It's gonna save me some gas mileage. I have it right now for 26 days, and I should return it still on full without putting anything in it. Yeah, it looks like a cell phone case for the small version of the iPhone that I'm going to be driving around. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, all right. Any last rites or words or anything you want to promote? Did you post those videos about going to some of those games?
Yeah, I put up one at the weekend from the previous weekend, which was the lower league game I went to watch. There's a banging free kick in there. There's some lower league level food in there as well. There's a bit of everything in there. So yeah, give that one a watch. It's on Lee Hudson Comedy on Instagram.
All right, dope. And go to my Instagram at Ian Evers Comic and click that Linktree link, and it'll tell you where I'll be performing at. I'll be at the Greensboro Comedy Zone. I'll be at the Comedy Loft. And where's the other place? Just go to the thing. There's one more place. I'll be, yeah. But, let's come out to some shows, y'all. We love you. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe and be good to each other. 1.